Lots of building has been happening on the Ramble SMP. Things are popping up all around this lake and there's some crazy builds going on. Meanwhile, over at my base, we have a hole in the ground and a tiny little shack. This is not good enough. Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode from the Ramble SMP. And we are now in episode 3 and I still don't have a start house. So that is going to be fixed today. Definitely. And as you saw from that intro, the replay mod has been released for 1.20. And I am definitely not going to be abusing it, flying around doing crazy things. No, not me. Right, so for the building that I'm doing today, I'm going to need an absolute ton of stone. And in previous episodes, I have been cooking a lot of the cobblestone up, but now I have a silk touch pick. I've been going mad and mining a lot of stone. And the main place I've been doing that is over in my village. I've been digging down this massive hole in the ground. And yes, this is the slime chunk, so it will be a slime farm eventually. But now, I just need it for some building. I've also been doing a little bit of nether work as well. As you can see, I now have a portal at my base. Even though I've got this here, for the first like 5 or 6 times I went to the nether, I still ran up to Superturtle's base because I completely forgot. But anyway, we don't need to talk about that. Let's have a look through here. And this portal, very close to Superturtle's. And there are a few more of the other Ramblers down here. And they're all very, very close. Amradorn has dug a massive tunnel to a desert that we can go and absolutely destroy, and Amradorn is just here. And you'll also notice the floor as well. I've been through and slabbed all of this because this is a waltz forest, and because this is 3 high and 4 in some places, there was a lot of endermen and they were getting really, really annoying. And every time I went to my village, which is down that way, usually had to fight 1 or 2 endermen. So I got all this done and kept it all nice and neat. So it's a bit of a trek this way, but if we just come down here, there are 2 more tunnels. Not that one, I don't know what that is, that's not me. Yeah, a little bit further down here we have this one here, and that is going to go to my mega base when I eventually get onto that project. And then this tunnel down at the end, this is to my village. So yeah, village portal there. We've seen all that. Nothing's changed since last time. And then just around the corner here, where that other tunnel was, this goes into the mega base. And I don't know if I've said 100% what I'm going to be doing, but I'm going to do a guardian farm. I've done lots of guardian farms and I've taken apart lots of ocean monuments, but I've never actually built something that's my main base in one. So I definitely want to do that in this season. But as you can see, the portal, it's taking us right underground. So where are we? We're at negative 42 right down here, but you'll see by all the torch spam everywhere. I've been through here and I've tried to light this up a bit so we don't get any mobs down here, and this will be very helpful later on once we get the garden farm up and running, but we are a long way off that just yet. So let's get back to spawn and see what we're going to be working on today. Right, so let's talk about this cherry wood. We've seen it all around us here and a few people are building with it. I love the planks, but you know, this log, I just can't get to grips with it. I'm not a massive fan, but I think I've found something that I like to use it with. Now if we just craft up these dyes, we're going to go purple with those 2, but also I want some magenta as well. And these pink petals that you find all around these cherry groves, you can turn these into pink dye, and if we just combine that with a purple, we get a magenta. So I've just cooked up some terracotta, so we'll have magenta and we'll have purple as well, and I'll just show you what I'm talking about because this is a really cool gradient that you can use with these blocks. Just like that. Not like that. Works really well. This, it's a really cool gradient. If you have a lot of these stacked up and then have the purple on top and then the magenta, but like mixing it up a little bit, it's really cool and I do like it. But I'm not going to use this. This is a solution I found for the cherry wood, but this is not going to go in my house. So yes, I did craft all this up just so I could show you a block palette I like that I'm not going to use. But anyway, let's see what I'm actually going to use. So one of the other things I've done between episodes is set up this area in here. And I will explain all this later. But first, I've just been experimenting with a few gradients. And I think this is what I'm going to go with. So firstly, we're going to build some docks down at the edge of the lake that goes up to a platform which my house is going to sit on. And it's the standard moss to stone. We do have diorite up there, but that is actually going to be in the house. This part here, maybe just up to the stone, possibly the andesite as well. This will be the dock, and obviously in the water there'll be a lot more of the moss, and then it'll slowly get into like the cleaner look. And then in the house we're going to have the same thing, maybe a little bit less moss, but then in the tall sections we're going to have diorite at the top, and it's not something I normally use, so it's a bit of a risk, but I'm hoping it's going to go well. And then the top section of the house, the second floor, we're going to use this. So this is the new cherry wood. This is the stripped version, and I think this works really well integrating with the cherry planks and then into the white. So here we've got bone blocks, calcite, and then again with the diorite. And I think this looks really good. But another thing we're going to do, actually, let's explain this now. This is a glow lichen farm. This is designed by Il Mango, and it's absolutely crazy. I use this for a few seconds, and I've got this. It's mental. So I think you can get like 20 stacks in a minute, something stupid like that. But if we just, I'll just show you how this works. It's probably really noisy, but we just get in here, and this You need efficiency 2 shears to do this, but I had a load of efficiency 5 books, so I've done that. And we just click on this thing and just look at how fast that is going up in my hotbar. And if I just stay here for a few minutes, I'll get an absolute ton. But I'm not going to do that. The only difficult thing about this is getting out, because you can't right click this. Actually, I definitely can't with the torch, but I can't right click this, so I have to left click and right click at the same time, and it eventually opens. But anyway, that's that. And I think we've got more glow lichen we'll ever need. But this is a really cool thing for when you've got fairly different textures like this. If you put this on top of it, it can really help with the transition between the two. And you can do this on any block, and obviously this is a slight light from this as well. So if you have this in areas where you don't want any like apparent torches or lanterns or anything, just have a little bit of like in there, it'll hopefully help with the mob spawning. So yeah, this is the palette we're going for. But looking at palettes isn't going to get anything built, is it? So it feels so good to say this finally in 1.20, but let's jump into a time lapse and get some building done. Okay, so there it is, and it wouldn't be a view of my base without looking at it from binaries, would it? So this is what we've got going on so far, and I'm definitely liking the look of it. I just started off with this dock area at the front, and then built up a couple more levels. So this is just where the drop down to the zombie and skeleton spawner is, so I'm going to leave that there. Maybe build some kind of structure around it, maybe not. But then the top one here is where my house is going to go, and it is a big crazy structure. That's, I think it's 48 blocks from that point up to the peak of the tower anyway. So yeah, it's a big thing, and I definitely want to get on with it. But let's get back over there and have a closer look. Right, so I've just continued where this path was, and I've just put a little step in here. So this is as it was, no change there. And then I have steps down to a dock, and I think we're going to have another step down to the water level and have a wooden dock at the bottom. And I think, yeah, I'm going to continue this round here. I should really get rid of this cobblestone as well. Don't really need this as a marker anymore. I think it's safe to say where my base is. And there is a little bit more work needed doing the textures. It is a little bit jarring at the minute. I need to add a little bit more of a transition between these blocks. Bit more stone like I've done here in these ones. But, you know, as a first pass, I don't think that's too bad. Definitely need a bit more moss and roughing up over here. Then coming up here, we have another little staircase. And this goes into another bit that's going to go around the back. And I think I'm going to have like a chimney on the back of the house here. And the house isn't going to take up this whole area. I think it's going to come out about this far. It's not really that wide. I think maybe seven blocks internal width. But then it does go quite a long way this way. So it's just going to be rectangular. But then we're going to have this tower in the middle that's going to poke out the top of it. As you can see here, this is going to be the central staircase. It's going to go through all of the house. And then down here, I'm going to have a big storage area. So at the moment, I've covered up my shop, which probably isn't the best marketing technique, but it's still doing alright. I'll take those. So I need to move this somewhere. Don't know where yet. I'll either do it up on the surface near here, or I probably should start on something in the shopping district soon, because no one's done that yet, so maybe I can be the first one. Right, so it's nearly time to start on this house. But after getting this done, I've been over to my village and started on a massive project over there as well. And that project is the massive iron farm I was talking about last time. So we're starting off with the storage area. Just got 20 double chests for now, but we can change this later on to something a bit more sophisticated. Then above that, we have the killing area, just a load of hoppers, signs on top of those, and lava on top of that. And this is where all the golems are going to come to die. As this is a quad design, that means we have 4 platforms. So I've built out the 4 paths where the golems are going to flow, and then I got on with building one module of the farm. So first up, we have the redstone at the bottom. That's going to push this piston up and down that the zombie's going to be stood on top of. Above that, we have the platform for the villagers with the beds and the workstations. Then above that, we have the platform where the golems are going to spawn. And then it was on to the fun bit of moving the villagers across. So I brought these across from my breeder. Just made sure to quickly press the button again when the villager was in front of the zombie, because we do not want any zombie villagers. And the plan was, just like I did with the other farm, get the villager as close as possible at night, and then hopefully it'll just run up to the beds. But this didn't work this time, because I'd left a bed out and he just wasn't interested in the others. I decided to build a rail up closer to see if that would work, and I did this during the day, but I had a few composters and a brewing stand, so the villager went straight after those and completely ignored what I've just built. After taking away anything of interest, I built a rail all the way to the top and got the villager in very easily. I then brought across another 2 villagers the same way, and everything went well. Then I moved across one of my trapped zombies into his spot, which again, no problems. Lastly, we just had water on the top, and the final redstone torch to push up the zombie. And then once we started spawning, the golems were escaping onto the other platforms. This was just because I hadn't put the water in, but easily fixed. Right, so that hasn't been running very long now, but as you can see, the golem is just up there, flowing along, so this thing is definitely working. And we do have a bit of iron coming in, as we've only got one of the modules. It's not as it should be. I think it does 1500 an hour once you've got all 4 in, so we will definitely get that done. But it looks like most of the iron is coming into the middle chests, which I suppose you'd expect. They're going to tend to be in the middle. But yeah, this is going to be really good once we get it done. But you know what? I've had enough for moving villages for now. Building these things is not difficult at all, but you know, getting these things across, building the dirt stairs up and then rails, and you know what? I just can't be bothered with it at the moment. So I think I need to get back to spawn and get my house built, don't I? After all, that is what I'm supposed to be doing today. Right, so we're back over at spawn in the little room we were in earlier with the glow lichen farm. And this is a thing I skipped over. And this, I'm sure you've seen it before, is a stone generator that we're going to use for creating moss. So, as you see, these pistons fire every now and then. We have lava above there. And if we just break a few of these, you'll see what happens. So every time those pistons push up, another set pushes them across. And then we have an infinite amount of stone. But what we can do with that, I do have some bone meal on me, just a little bit. But I can go down to the skeleton spawner and get a little bit more. But if we bone meal this moss block, it's going to push these and break all the moss, and then the stone will be replaced, and we'll just get an infinite amount of moss. Now, we do need to have some water on the top to push all the other stuff that doesn't break, like the carpet, and I think... No, actually, I think it's just the carpet. So, it needs to do a little bit more redstone on top, but once that's done, we will have infinite moss, and then we can also compost that for infinite bone meal as well. So we'll get this done first, because I'm going to need a lot more moss and the mossy blocks for building the house. Right, so all that is done now. We've got everything built up, and this thing, as you can hear by the racket, is up and running and working very well. I won't go into this too much, but this is a design by Raevhynn, and I will have a link to that tutorial down in the description. But the basic idea is, stone is auto-generated, turned into moss, and then all the items flow this way periodically. When the water flows down here, we have a bubble elevator over here, takes it into this chest. And then from this chest, it goes 2 places. One is into this composter, which makes sure that this dropper is constantly filled up with bone meal. And then once all that backs up, it then goes into this one. And then we get a constant supply of bone meal. Now, we're not there yet. I think this is nearly there. Yeah, it's getting there. But also, once this backs up as well, it's an easy place to get the moss. Now, we can redo this so we can filter out the moss. But it would probably be easier to do that along here. So have item filters under this bit, or maybe at the end before we send the items up. But for now, we're just going to leave this to do its thing, and I can grab some moss from one of the hoppers somewhere once I need it. But I think now, it's finally time I got a start house sorted, isn't it? So let's jump into another time lapse and get some building done. Okay, so there it is. This thing is now done, and it's looking very crazy. My kind of start house, I like it. So, where do we start with this thing? I suppose we should have a little tour, shouldn't we? So firstly, as we said, outside we've got the gradient, starting with the moss, going up to the light colours at the top, And I've also added in an absolute ton of glow lichen as well, just to keep this lit up, but without having to have too many torches and lanterns around. I think there might be a few spots that I need to fix. Yeah, I've got a torch over there, so definitely need to do something with that. So if we come in the main door here, we do have a little bit of an interior. Tries to do a little bit of a ceiling here just to make it look nice and grand. And then over here, I've got a few fairly practical things, but it's more for sure really. So I've got a couple of smokers, big fireplace at the end with the campfires. And then over here, this is actually an automated setup for smelting. I have to put the fuel in manually, don't have anywhere for that to go in automatically, and then it'll output to the bottom. And we've just hidden the hoppers with the trapdoors, make it look nice and neat. This little central area here, probably just going to use this for brewing, and I've got a few of the little things in here. I'm sure we're going to add a few more things to this once we get going. Then if we go up this middle staircase, this is where all the pink comes in, and we have a little balcony out here made with the lecterns. And then in here, not a lot going on yet really, but I'm sure I'll think of something to do on this floor. Over at the other side, we have a little balcony over at the side of the tower. Now, not a lot of use yet, as I don't have any wings, as you can see. But the good news is, the dragon has now been killed. Unfortunately, I couldn't make the fight. The point is, it's there, the end is open, so we can go through to the end cities and hopefully get ourselves an elytra. But the main thing I really want is shulker boxes. On the next floor, I have a bit of an enchanting area. Obviously something missing, I need to get my enchanting table in there. So I can use this floor for a few things that I don't do that much, like enchanting every now and then, maybe a couple of other bits. And I also have an open window over here as well, so once I've got a elytra, I have a few areas where I can get into this house. And then finally, we have a ladder, and this goes up to the final room at the top, which is like an attic. And we can have a little bit of storage in here for stuff that we don't need that much. And then this ladder, again, does go further up, and we have another balcony right at the top of the tower. And again, somewhere else we can fly in if we need to. So, very happy with how this has gone. Loving this house. And as you can see, we have loads of this glow lichen all over. So, we don't have any torches up here, but none of this is spawnable. This has gone very well. Oh, I need some glass in there, don't I? Not finished. There'll always be something. And then if we come right down to the bottom into the basement, we have our original storage area just down here. And I'm still working this at the moment, but I am going to move all this. What I'm thinking of doing is having this basement area down here as a storage area. Now, there is a lot of room, as you can see, and once I get rid of all of this, and I'll get rid of this house as well, shop actually. So, as you can see, the mending shack is no more, and I've already taken out my mending books. What I've done is I've knocked up this little building out here, and I just did it basically the same grading I had on the second floor of the house. It looks alright, but this won't be staying. I am going to build a much bigger building with more books over in the shopping district. But for now, we have a few things in here. I've got Efficiency 5, Silk Touch, Unbreaking 3, Mending, that's the bestseller, Flame, Sharpness 5, and Looting 3. And we are getting a few dams out of this. I have reduced the price to 4 as well, and that's the same for Mending. So they're still selling. I could have sold these for 5. I probably could have sold everything for 5, but I'm not greedy. We're doing alright. I'm sure the Mending sales will continue for a bit longer, but you know, once people get set up themselves, probably won't be as essential a shop like this, but it's definitely good to get this going early game. So after getting the starter house built, I came back over to the village, and as you can see, this iron farm is now fully working. So I've got all 4 of the modules in, all 12 villagers in, and all 4 zombies. Now, I won't pretend it went completely smoothly, but, you know, mistakes were made, but we got there in the end. That's the main thing. So the iron is flowing in, and we still have the problem where it's mainly coming into this central chest, but I've been taking the flowers out, as you can see, and we're ending up with a ton of iron. So this is very good. I will get the storage of this upgraded between episodes. I'm just going to get this into a sorting system, but I'm not going to go too fancy because I want to automate pretty much everything around here, and I'm going to have one central storage area that everything goes into. So the sugarcane, and yeah, no spoilers, but there's going to be other farms, and they're all going to go into one storage area. So I'll get a temporary thing done with this for now, and I probably should craft up a few iron blocks as well and get those put somewhere. But you know, for now, I'll just leave that as it is. I think we've done enough today, haven't we? Got an awesome start house built and a quad iron farm, so you can't really argue with that. So if you have enjoyed this episode, please do leave a like, and I'll see you again next time. Thanks for watching, everyone. Bye bye.